So wasn't sure. I was gonna do top landings. Looked like it might be soarable that day, and then this tree launched right in front of me, and he was staying up a little bit. It was buoyant, but he was definitely not gonna stay up for long. So I just did a nice smooth walk, jog, run, launch. No hand because it felt so smooth. Didn't have my Vario on. Not that I needed it. Almost didn't do my hook in check because I had just done the hang check, but gotta do that hook in check. So it was south up top, southeast. It was southwest down low, so I tried to get across the ridge as much as possible and also kind of use the side of the ridge to help get into ground effect, trying to show as much ground effect as you can get on a Falcon on an uphill, which isn't a whole lot, but you can see how I kind of carve into that little valley with some good speed, and I knock off those wingtip vortices that way and let the glider slow down a little bit more. Almost didn't even flare, it was slowed down pretty nice. But on an uphill you gotta flare. You didn't have to run it out. It's a nice steep part. There's a lot of places to launch on the top of the 1200. Nice steep part. That was soarable. Once I got in the air, of course. Flew around a little bit until I landed on the 6. A little bit, meaning a couple minutes. So last time I had landed on the 6, I had undershot it, and it's thicker grass and steeper down low, so I was going to try and really land on the top, kind of like I do on the 300, try and land right near the crest of the parking lot. And if I did overshoot, I could either land on the flat part, or it was smooth enough wind, it looked like, to just fly into the valley. But I had nice speed, and once again I was really trying to show how much you can ground effect on a Falcon uphill, and you can see there really isn't ground effect except for me pushing out, continuing my round out, never really hitting a flat glide at trim. Keeping speed as long as I possibly could here, but you still have to get trim a little ways from the hill. Pushed out, took it back a little bit because I was going to fall backwards. So nice carpeted launch we got now. I got a little lift and I cut to the left. I didn't put that in the video, but I cut to the left and I got a little far away from the 300 and did what you're not supposed to do if you're top landing, which is don't get too far away from where you're going to land and leave yourself a long glide to get there, because a lot of times you'll end up short. And I was milking it in. See how I'm at trim way out here. I just pulled in a little bit of best glide just to have something. See how long I was at trim. Just flare when you get there. The ground comes fast when you're coming at an uphill, so it's not like the same when you get trim far away from the hill. On flat ground you spend more time sinking down to it. If you get to trim a little bit away from the ground, it's usually a good thing. Okay, now we're going to do the 150. Done this one so many times now. Almost too easy. This is the first one most people should try for their first top landing, and try and get into ground effect with just a little more than best glide right at the top where the steep part of the trail levels out. Right about there. There's a little pass there. And it's pretty flat actually, it's just a slight uphill. Don't try and turn left, land more into the wind, or you'll just have to launch. You have to do a side crosswind, cross hill landing on that 150 almost every time. This is the preferred approach whenever you're going to top land, is to be over where you're going to land, behind it. Nice tight approach. Turning high, little diving turn, not too much extra energy so you don't overshoot though. So just got a good enough cycle to float the glider up and do a nice tight hang strap launch. And then try and land the 45-foot hill for the very first time. I lined up on it once, but I was on my Sport 2 and I could tell I didn't line it up right, so I just landed. This one I lined up right. Felt really good. Felt a little fast in the ground rush there, but slowed down nice at the end. So the other times before I launched, I had to take a rest after I carried the glider. This time I got to just launch. I wasn't tired at all. A pretty good glide. Didn't expect to make it that far. A little late on that flare. You can see just enough wind to barely hold up the glider. Tight hang strap. Hug the hill, looking back at my spot. Again, turning high, but doing a diving turn. Had to use some of that energy to pop over the little bamboo pole there. I thought I was going to have a no-stepper, but the right wing dragged on this side of the hill, so I had to run it out. It actually, I felt like I only took 2 steps, but watching the video, took quite a few. But this is the best launch I think I had as far as having to put some good energy in. The other ones were really steep and easy. That 45-foot hill is not an easy launch, especially in no wind. And once again, late on the flare.